Okay, so real quick, I'll still come back to it, but there is a meet-up with the delegation from Ghana, a networking reception, where we're going to be having the Minister of Culture and Tourism, Honorable Andrew, the Minister, yeah, the Minister, yeah, and the Minister, the office is more important, Andrew Messer, all right, yeah, in the next room, that should be is it a Kano room? Yeah, Kano room, so do well to take advantage of that networking opportunity as we continue to collaborate across borders. Okay, next up, ladies and gentlemen, we will be we will be going into some numbers, and we have a very wonderful lady who will be crunching those figures for us. We're talking about the Nigerian box office roundup, first half of the year 2024. The 2024 box office story, a half-year review. Let's welcome the Chief Content Officer, Filmone Limited, Ladun Awobokun-Chief. Wow, she came with her own crowd.
Always go with your fan club, right? It's a no-brainer. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thanks to the NIFS team. Oh, Ijoma is in here. She always has me here. Oh, Ijoma is here. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for always having us and for doing this for the industry. I have a very short presentation. I haven't been feeling too well, but it's not obvious, Shana. I'm not feeling too well. It's not too. It's just a bit. So I have a short presentation, but it's about box office, and I think it's important for us to be excited about just box office and what cinemas are doing or what is possible. I always say that that's ours. It's our own. It's on ground. And what is more exciting, and we'll go through it very briefly, about this year is that now our films are showing up, and it is so interesting to be in this time and to see what is possible, and just excited. So we're going to get into it. It's very short. Next slide, please. Or first slide. First slide, please. Hello. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so once we wait for them to get started, I mean, the first slide is about the highlights, so I can speak to that before it comes up. We've come into a year that I think Moses referenced it, where it's no surprise or no one can say they don't know that there's a squeeze going on or what is going on with streamers, whatever it is. But what that has meant is that a lot more films are coming to the cinemas this year, next year, and we started the year where, I remember, like, if you're thinking 4 or 5 years back, a lot of Nollywood films wait till December before they release their films. A lot of the big studios would wait. They'll say, no, I want a December film, I want this. I mean, that is still going on to an extent right now. But we're seeing much bigger films coming earlier in the year. We're seeing some in February, March. Everyone is staying away from January, and rightfully so, because the December buzz is still, going on there. Some people are bold, still coming in January, but we're seeing a lot more films. People are coming in February, people are coming in March, April, and all of that, and that has shown this year. Last year, in 2023, we ended the year from a box office point of view, 7.3 billion is what the industry did. Half year this year, January to June, we've done 4.3 billion. Granted, the ticket prices have gone up, but people are still coming out. What we try to sort of work against, or what we're trying to fight against, is admissions, right? Admissions numbers have been going down since 2021, and what I'm happy when I look at this year's one is that when I look at what happened. Oh gosh, I wish the slides were here. It would be so much easier. When I look at what happened in 2023, from January to June 2023, as compared with January to June 2024, the decline is much smaller. So we've gone from like a decline of 13% to a decline of 4%, which is good news. Any help? Yeah. Half year, yes, I can do that. Half year, January to June 2024 is 4.3 billion. And to put that in perspective or context is 2023 ended the year with 7.3 billion. So we've done more than half of what 2023 did. Higher ticket prices. We've had 10 new cinemas that have opened in the first 6 months, because the data I'm showing today is first 6 months. But even in July, we've had 2 more cinemas open in July. And I know that I already know of people that we're speaking to that are already saying, are coming with this cinema, or coming with that cinema. And what is interesting about it, or what I like about it, is that it's not only in Lagos, which is what always worries me, because Lagos is 50% of our market already. So but there are people in Benin, there are people in Asaba, there are people in Calabar, like open cinemas there. So when I see that a lot of people are doing that, are taking that risk, it's quite interesting to see, and it makes the job sweeter, because it means that there are more people that will watch the film. There are a lot of, there's some very, very interesting cinemas that have come up. Sanford in Ekoma, doing fantastic numbers. There's Hoagie's Cinema in Calabar that opened this year as well. So there are a few cinemas that have opened. I'll just keep going off of my head. Okay, so I was talking about 10 cinemas that have opened this year from January to June. We have 2 in Ibadan that I can see here. 2 in Ibadan. Ace Cinema has 2 locations in Ibadan. Filmhouse Palms, that was a cinema that was, obviously, it existed before. It was closed, it's opened again. I already talked about Hoagie's Cinema in Calabar, talked about Sanford Cinema in Ekoma in Edo. Then there's Silverbird in Lekki, there's Prime Cinemas in Liberia. They used to have a cinema many, many years ago, and then it closed because of COVID, and they come back, so that's nice to see. There's Pepperoni Cinemas in Lagos as well. I mean, I have a chart here that just sort of shows the half year. I have a chart here that shows the half year performance, and you can see the progression. So it's a 4-year, half year performance. I'm hoping that everything comes in. Yay! Okay, this is the front page. Next page, please. Thinking about the box office numbers for the year. It was 4.65, not 4.35, but I got it for being sure. So 4.65, and it's from 113 titles. I put the number of cinemas that are open, or were open as at January to June 2024, and then 91, which includes Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia. Average ticket price at the end of June was 3,800 naira. I love this stat, by the way, the next one. 18 titles have grossed the 100 million naira mark in 2024, which is huge. And Nigerian produced titles, Nollywood, accounts for 48.4% of the performance. So which means that of the 4.6 billion, I beg your pardon, 4.6 billion that the industry has done, Nollywood films account for 48.4% of. That's exciting. Like, we should be clapping for that. Next slide, please. Again, I already spoke about this. These are the cinemas that opened from January to June as well. There are 10 of them. They're all, well, save for Filmhouse and Silverbird, they're all independent cinemas, which I love. And one thing I wanted to mention about it, because I know, like, cinemas, when you set up, they will tell you that if you're setting up what it's called a ZCI compliant cinema, it's somewhere between 400 million and 600 million. But people are now doing Nollywood cinemas, which I absolutely love, which means you don't need the expensive, I mean, it's still not cheap to set up, but it is possible. especially now that community cinemas are coming up. So people are setting up viewing centers, one cinemas where you can watch Nollywood films with the DCP, it's called something, DCP formats. There we go, DCP format, and we support those very, very well because again, the goal is to support Nollywood as best as we can. We can't do it all, but support those films, support the cinemas wherever we need them because that's the future really. Next slide, please. Then this is a half-year analysis over the past 4 years. What has been done here is half-year 2021 to 2024. So you can see how from the blue bars is the box office and the yellow line is admissions. So again, box office has gone up, which we know because ticket prices have gone up. In black, you can see the ticket prices have gone up from what 1,300 in 2021 to 3,800. I think at the end of this year it's going to be closer to 5,500, but that's what I feel. And actually that's what the data is telling me. Ticket prices have gone up, but if you see the decline between 2023 and 2024, you can see that it's very, very marginal. It's only a 4% drop as compared to all the other years. I was like 13% etc. This is an indication that it is steadying, and we hope going into the year that this will be the first time in the past 4 years that we will have admissions number actually pick up. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Now, during a January to June 2024 deep dive, I think I mentioned earlier that Nollywood market share is 48.4, Hollywood is 49.1. What isn't shown here is how Indian films are picking up. In fact, some of one of my favorite people, Ebony Life, reached out the other day asking for Indian films to say, oh, they're getting a lot of requests. I've gotten that from Film House Lekki as well. You can see that they actually contributed 1.4% to box office performance in the first 6 months. Released 22 titles as well. Again, I'm mentioning 18 titles have grossed over the 100 million naira mark. Again, the 100 million is like what we use for, I guess in the US is the 1 billion mark, but for us, when you 100 million, you have tried. You are counted. So it's something that we're very, very pleased about. Next slide, please. On Nollywood. I thought that this was very important to talk about because again, this is performance from January to June. It's the first time, actually, ever, that we've had two films do over 200, two Nollywood do over 200 million naira in the first half of the year. Usually we will have none. In 2021, which is when I believe King of Thieves came out, we had one. And that was when it came out at least 320 something million. But this year we've had three actually, at Lakatabu, that have done over 200 million. We've had six Nollywood titles gross over 100 million naira mark, and 9 titles do over 50 million naira. I think it's quite impressive, and we should it's not easy. And then we did go through a phase in Nollywood where everyone was saying, oh, it had to be comedy. The only thing that works in cinema is comedy. What I'm happy about, if you look at these pictures, is that there's epic, there's comedy, there's action, there's even a biopic. Fumilayo Ransom-Kuti that did 157, there's rom-com that did 132, so it means that it's more in the positioning of the film and who is in it, and we all know that there's this actor-producer thing that also adds a certain effect to it as well. But it's not one genre that works in cinema, so that one is a myth, and hopefully this is enough to make everyone know that it's not true. Forget it. Next slide, please. Now, based on information forecasts, I know that a couple people here have said 10 billion, but I've looked at the December slate again. I think it's more like 11. Last December alone did 1 billion. 1 billion, actually maybe 1.2 billion, just in a month. This month, there's Everybody Loves Jennifer, there's Thin Line, there's Alakada, there's Mufasa, there's Sonic the Hedgehog, there's Moana that's coming at the end of November, which is a December film. There's Wicked. I don't know how all those films. Sorry? There's Gladiator that comes out November 15, which is a December film. I don't know how all of those films only do 1 billion. I don't see how they're not 2 billion. And the December started a bit earlier this year because the second week-ish in December, December 13th. So these films start to release from December 13th, which means we have more time for it to make more money in December as opposed to last year where it started from December 16th. I think that it's an 11 billion month. Or, sorry, 11 billion year, and not 10 billion now. Yeah, if I'm right, I'll just deny. If I'm not right, I'll just deny that. You know, I'll still deny it. AI, I didn't say it. You know, no, but I really think that it is, and I feel like if you look at admissions as well, I think that it would either be steady or it would maybe be a bit higher, just based on it. And again, this is based on ticket prices. Again, we've gone from 2,300 to 3,800 by June. I am so sure that by December it'll be closer to 5,000 naira. When ticket prices go up, when the films are, and again, these are IPs that people recognize, whether it's Sonic, whether it's Mufasa, whether it's ELJ, whether it's Alakada. They already have an existing audience, so that's already 300 million. So it's just the rest. So that's my expectation. Next slide, please. The last slide. Full year 2024 expectations. Again, I already said it's hard to remember. I think that this December is going to be one we're going to be talking about for a very long time. I've seen some. I didn't mention AY also has a film this December, The Waiter. So that's another one. So I think it's going to be a December to remember. I think ticket prices are going to be the highest we've ever seen. You know, everything, once dollar moves by 2 naira, and everything, the naira moves by 1,000. So, yeah, like, I know what's going to happen in December. Next thing is Nollywood versus Hollywood. I think somebody said that earlier that in 2025, Nollywood will have a stronger market share. I think that it might actually happen this year, just based on how it is right now. If by half year we're already at 48%, and we do have a lot of content coming out. September, look at Queen Latifah. We also have Farmer's Bride as well. In October, we have, call me a fan club, you guys. In October, there's some strong ones as well, in November as well. So I think that this is the year that Nollywood takes that we have a bigger market share than Hollywood. And of course, cinema experiences. There was an announcement I saw on my way here today, just on Ebony Life and Nile with the luxury port as well. I think that is something that you're going to be seeing a lot of. I didn't even know that when I did this in terms of talking about the cinema experience and people focusing on what people experience and how people feel when they come into the cinema. I think that is something that towards the tail end of 2024 into 2025 is something that we should expect and it's something that we're going to see. I hope with these 3 points of mine, you believe and trust in cinema. Next slide, please. The last but not the least, come with your fan club. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the ever vibrant Ladun Awobokun. Please a round of applause. So full of energy all the time with her fan club and her content creator. See her content creator now, let's see the fan club there. Yeah, that's nice. Great numbers, great numbers. Wow, proud of Nollywood. Proud of Nollywood. We're doing good stuff. By the way, the meetup with the Ghana delegation is actually at the Kanu Terrace. I suspect it's this terrace right here. Yeah. So it's not the room, the terrace. Yeah. So yeah, just so we have that clarified. Next up, we will be we'll be talking about the power of branding in film. I mean, it's one thing to have a good story, it's one thing to have a great platform, all the beautiful numbers, and I think Mr. Michael touched on that, you know, for like 3 seconds, and I can imagine that's about 40 minutes in the 2-hour class, as it were. But anyway, we're going to have a 15-minute presentation on that as we welcome a very wonderful lady whose mission is to elevate African storytelling with a very long experience of 25 years with a track record of success. Her vision is to set new standards for quality and professionalism in Nollywood. An alumnus of the Harvard Business School with 2 bachelor's degrees in journalism and criminal justice from the University of Maryland College Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the President CEO, Red Stand Studios, Ogochukwu Ekezie.
I didn't come with a fan club, but I think
her Ladun's on. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is having a great summit so far. Thank you for having me. My name is Ogochukwu, Ekezie, like you said. I like to say I'm transitioning, or I transitioned from brand storytelling to now narrative storytelling. I launched my film content studio in June of this year, and like I said, we're looking to tell interesting Nigerian African stories that hopefully elevate our storytelling. Ijoma asked me to speak today because she wants me to, in my past life, what I did for the last 25 years was look after brands as a chief marketing officer. And so she wanted me to talk about branding in film. And I've created this presentation. It's a short presentation from, I think, the filmmaker's perspective, really. And I've tried to distill some of the principles from branding and apply them to film. And hopefully I can do that in the next, 10 minutes. Really distill it. So anyway, so why does voice matter in film? I think as filmmakers, our primary job is to be storytellers. And as storytellers, our brand is our voice. I think that in a cluttered world where, we're competing not only locally, but globally, your voice needs to stand out for you to be able to make an impact and to build, a legacy in the industry or even in the industry. So I'll tell you to move in a second. Let me do this. Okay. Next slide. So the first principle, I think, is to know your why, and I think Simon Sinek popularized this. Start with the why. What is your why? I think as creatives, a lot of us are driven by, talent maybe, and the fact that we have an interest in the space. But I think understanding your why and the reason why you want to tell stories is important. I think looking at the things that inspire you, the things that trigger you, the things that annoy you, the things that elevate you is a good way to start to figure out the things that you care about and the things that will help you tell the story, tell your own story and build your own voice in an authentic way. So I think, a lot of times we watch a lot and a lot happens in our around us, but I think as individuals, we need to be to understand authentically what our values are, to be able to understand what we want to speak about and the kinds of stories that we want to tell, to hopefully inspire people. So I think the first thing is to understand why you want to tell these stories. Why should the world listen to your own or watch your own stories or read your own stories, and what is unique about the stories you want to tell? So that's the first thing. The second thing is embrace your influences, but then break away. So as artists and as creators and filmmakers, we have influences, right? A lot of things that our work comes from a place of influence, a place of inspiration. And if you look at your influences globally, locally, it makes sense to be inspired, by them. It makes sense to take and to learn and to watch the masters, in your view, individually. But at the same time, you also don't want to become a copycat, right? You don't want to do the same things that your influencers are doing, because they've created their own voice and they've established their own voice. So it's for you to look at your influence and then break away from that. For me, when I'm putting together a project or a team for a project, one of the few questions I ask is, what are you watching now? And a lot of times, from what people are watching, I understand what their influences are, and I understand if we have sort of the same sensibilities towards, if we have the same mindset. And if I'm able to watch some of the things that they watch and understand why they're interested or influenced by it, then it helps me to understand a bit better who they are as artists and what drives them. So I think embrace your influences, find the right influences, but then break away. Next slide, please. make bold choices. I think as filmmakers, as much as it's art, it's a lot of formula to how we do our work, right? Storytelling is formulaic in a certain sense for you to make sure that everything sort of is in the right place. But I think when most people that stand out, right, find a way to, throw in a curveball in those formulas, and they create their own unique formulas by making bold choices. If you look at some of the influences that, or some of the big filmmakers that are out there, they've created their own style by making choices that most other filmmakers or other filmmakers won't make. By making these bold choices, that's the way that you start to place your imprint and your stamp on the work that you do, and start to sort of grow your name and your quote-unquote brand in the space. Number 4, collaborate with purpose. So I think collaboration and partnerships are key. I think that for us as artists, we can be very internal. It can be a very lonely journey. But a lot of times, when you make art or when you have an idea, to bring that vision to life requires other people. Filmmaking is a team sport, right? And if you don't have the right people who understand your vision, who understand, and challenge, not even only understand, but also challenge your vision and have to help you craft it. So try to help you to craft it and make it better. You might struggle. So I think finding the right people to collaborate with in the filmmaking space, to partner for different reasons, be it funding, be it helping to elevate your idea, or be able to deliver what is in your head on screen. You need to collaborate. Most of the filmmakers out there today have collaborators that they've collaborated with for long term over the years, and that's how they continue to hone their vision, to hone their brand in the space. So I think collaboration is key, and if we're able to collaborate, actually I had some examples on this, so I hope that people have seen with different filmmakers, but I'm going to end with a mini case study of 2 filmmakers, so some of this stuff will come up again. But yeah, so collaborate with purpose and make sure that the people that you have, you choose to work with, are people who enhance and challenge your vision. And last principle, but not least, stay consistent, but evolve or die. So I think, in the last year when I was in the corporate world, we had this whole thing with innovate or die, innovate or die. Innovation was the big word then. Everybody was like, innovate or die. So I borrowed that from there. So I think, in branding, we always talk about consistency. So every time that anybody experiences the brand, there's a consistent experience and everybody knows it's the brand, and, if there's a full stop or if there's a dot here, don't move it, So consistency is key for recognition, right? But at the same time, nobody wants to see the same thing over and over and over again, especially in film. So I think the notion of being consistent, and in a sense, also applies to sort of being authentic to yourself, but at the same time, being able to evolve and apply, some of those apply your voice in other scenarios, be it genres, or be it, different kinds of storytelling. But I think you have to find different ways to express sort of your voice, so that it doesn't seem repetitive and it doesn't seem like you're on a hamster wheel and you're going round and round and not moving. So I think stay consistent, but evolution is key, and evolution is key to building some kind of sustainability in the industry. And so next up, I'm going to try to apply these principles to filmmakers. So a quick case study. And the first person that I have is, obviously someone who's Shonda Rhimes. And we know who she is. If you've seen Grey's Anatomy or Bridgerton, Scandal, which I'm actually rewatching now. You know who Shonda Rhimes is. So I think, in applying those 5 principles to her, right? If you ask, what is her why? She's very big on diversity, power dynamics, and strong female characters.
You know, if you like in Scandal, Olivia Pope, you know, characters navigating complexities of power and morality in the most powerful city in the world, and it's even controlling the most powerful man in the world. So, you know, diversity is big for her. If you watch Bridgerton, you see what she does in terms of having diverse characters in a world where people might argue that the world wasn't as diverse as she portrays them today. And so that's her applying sort of her influences, you know, to different genres. Influences, if you listen to her, she watched a lot of classic TV. She grew up in an academic home, and she read a lot of books as well. But if you know classic, you know, American TV, a lot of those shows had mostly white characters, right? And so in her, you know, building her own, you know, brand and portfolio, what she's done is place, you know, diverse, you know, characters in, you know, push unconventional storylines. And she puts these characters in situations where it's not questioned. These people are supposed to be there, they're meant to be there, and it's not something to be questioned. So you can see diversity for her comes through in the way that she represents her characters on screen, be the lead characters, and then in the storylines that she also builds around these people. These guys are not, a lot of times when you see minority characters in shows, they are like the support and they are like the add-on. But these are the main characters in a lot of her shows, because that is her existence, and she wants to, representation is a big thing for her. So while she takes the sort of traditional genres, be it, you know, medical shows and stuff, she makes it her own, and that's the way she breaks away. Her bold choices, you know, if you watch That Way with Murder, which is a non-linear storytelling, which is not, you know, which hasn't sort of been the way she's told stories in other shows that she's had, you know, exploring, you know, complex social issues, and she's not, you know, shy about, you know, addressing social issues with her characters, and, you know, placing them in situations that will generate, you know, discussion. She makes very bold choices, and you can argue that even with the way that she applies diversity to her stories, that is, you know, in a sense, making bold choices as well. She's, you know, in terms of collaborations, she's collaborated with her longtime business producing partner, Betsy Beers. But at the same time, the whole idea of Shondaland is building a universe of people, and a team of people that she's collaborated with across a lot of her shows over the long term. So if you watch, you know, Shonda Rhimes' shows, you'll see the same names pop up over and over again, because those are the people I think that she's built over the years, that she believes understand her vision and help her, you know, sort of to bring it to life. Consistency and evolution. I spoke about this earlier. You know, Bridgerton is a very different genre for her, right? It's sort of like a historic period piece which is modernized, but at the same, you know, at the same time, she's applied the same principles, you know, that drive her to them, which is part of how she has created her own voice. So, like I said before, Bridgerton is a show with, you know, many minority characters at the forefront, and when you could argue that in those days, those sort of types, those people were in the background. So I think that's Shonda Rhimes, and that's Shonda Rhimes, and that's the case study on her and how we apply those 5 principles to her. And as filmmakers, hopefully you can also apply those principles to yourself as you try to develop your voice. And then the second person is more homegrown. Next slide, please. Next slide. That slide. Okay, next slide. Next slide is Kunle Afolayan, who is our own Nollywood, you know, Nigerian filmmaker. I think if you look at Kunle's filmography, you can understand what drives him, his ethos and his why around culture, tradition, and identity. From films The Figurine, you know, there's a tension between tradition and, you know, modernity that recurs in his work, and so, you know, that comes through for him. You know, he's greatly influenced by Nigerian folklore, global cinema. A lot of, growing up as Nigerians watched, a lot of global cinema, and it makes sense that that those are part of his influences. And then he blends these influences to create his own, unique version, unique vision. October 1st is, historic genre, along with, Nigerian cultural themes and narratives. So, he applies his influences, but he's also, willing to explore them across, different kinds of genres. He takes risks in his storytelling. I think just in the choices of sort of the kinds of stories he tells, I think he has a very diverse filmography. I wanted to put that up here, but I was having space issues. I didn't want to go to a new slide. But yeah, so I think his filmography is quite diverse and shows, sort of how he, applies, how he takes risks in order to tell his stories, be it, sort of period pieces versus modern day stories. That has helped him, build a diverse body of work. He collaborates in front and behind the camera, and across the platforms. We know that he's doing quite a bit with Netflix, but I think him as a film, maker, I think part of what his own work in terms of collaborations is also training, and bringing up a new generation like he's doing with Cap Academy. So I think he's at the top of that sort of collaboration chain. And the last, but not the least, is consistency and evolution. So if you look at, how he's evolved from, the figurine, which was more supernatural, to historical piece, like October 1, he tries to stay fresh. So more sort of his recent work, he starts to keep his voice, he tries to keep his fresh, again, while maintaining, focus on on his core, which is, identity. And so that's it for me, and that hopefully you can, as filmmakers, you can apply those 5 principles, and to try to build a distinctive voice in this industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that distinctive piece. For those asking, I'm going to confirm if we can get the slides for this and the one before. Yes, the one before. The marketing one, yes. I'm not sure, I just need to confirm that. Thank you. We'll quickly jump to the next session. He actually deserves that. Please come and give her another hand of applause, please. Thank you. Okay, so another reminder for the delegates that's meeting at the terrace. The entrance will be from here. So everybody is entering from here, not from there. Okay? Please don't forget that. The next session will be on MultiChoice. I have the MultiChoice Talent Factory. Okay? So this will be like an overview. This will be handled by the very experienced Atinuke Babatunde with over 20 years experience in the whole branding, the marketing. So she's brought her things into the MultiChoice space. So she's going to be talking to us for 10 minutes, her presentation is for 10 minutes. Then after that, there's a panel for 30 minutes. So I'll just let you take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we should take out this because I'm not going to be sitting here. Like she said, my presentation is 10 minutes, and then I'll call my crew. I came with my squad, like if I'm good. The full squad. I have a slide of presentation. Please, can I have it on? Aha. So, MultiChoice Talent Factory. Please, how many of you have heard of the MultiChoice Talent Factory? Okay, a few people. Some people have heard. Meanwhile, before I start, please, can you hear me clearly? Because my manager warned me that I must hold the mic to my... So before I came out, she said, make sure the mic is in front of you. So I'm just making sure. The MultiChoice Talent Factory is... Please give me the next slide. This thing is clearly not working, the clicker. Just go to the next slide. Enter it. You have some razzmatazz on you, so you have to... Aha. So the MultiChoice Talent... No, go up, back. Now you've done over syllabus, you have to go back. All right. The MultiChoice Talent Factory started in 2018 and is a shared initiative, done by the MultiChoice. I mean, you've heard of MultiChoice, I'm sure, but maybe you've not heard of the MultiChoice Talent Factory. The Talent Factory is a shared initiative we decided to come up with in 2018 when we saw the number of young creatives that were talented, that are talented, but they did not have like an outlet to fine-tune that talent that they have. And so while it's easy to commission productions, acquire movies, we wanted a platform where we would train the next generation of African storytellers, and that was why we started the MultiChoice Talent Factory. Now, we do what we do in 3 ways. The first one is the academy, where every year we get 20 brilliant students, and them are here, they are the ones that will be on this panel. We do a call to entry. Ijoma and I were discussing, and Ijoma said, you need to come and talk more about this MultiChoice Talent Factory because of people know about it. We do a fully funded one scholarship where we take 20 students. And the reason why we decided to come on this platform today is because the call to entry is actually open now. So we're still taking entry for 2025. The only thing you need to qualify to join the factory is you need to be between 20 and 26 years old, and then you need to love film. You don't have to have a degree in filmmaking, but we need to see that passion because the process is quite intense in terms of the enrollment process. The 20 students, like I said, are fully funded. We do usually tell the story, but the truth is we house them for 1 year. We accommodate. Please clap for us now. Is this correct economy? Is it easy? We house them for 1 year. We provide them with everything they need to just learn. We just want them to learn filmmaking, no distractions. So they come from different parts of Nigeria. Currently we have 20, 16 from Nigeria and 4 from Ghana every year. That's what we do. And some of the people you can hear speak are from Ghana. Almost all the time they come from Ghana and they don't go back. Juliet is not here, so I can say it. Last 2 weeks ago I was in Ghana. Juliet and I were discussing, and she said, whatever it is you're doing to hold them as students, they need to make them come back home. So we're collaborating and doing stuff to make sure that when they finish, they go back, because that's the whole essence. We keep them, but I think the shocking thing now, when we say this part, the one that amazes most people is, we pay them a stipend every month. We pay them to sit and learn, because we don't want any distraction. So when they are coming, they sign a contract to say for 1 year, I don't want to hear I'm a storyteller, they called me to write on this set. No, you're there Monday to Friday, you're learning. It's a full school, 9 to 5 they learn, and that is what we do. The second aspect is we do master classes where that is open to anybody in the industry. You don't have to be, there's no age barrier. We've had 50, 60, it doesn't matter as long as you're interested. When we have those master classes, we announce them and then it's open. Next slide, please. Fast. Next slide. Next. I told you there are master, then you have to click like 3 times. There's animation, This is what our curriculum looks like. Everything there, we train the students when they come in, because remember it's 1 year. Sometimes we tweak some of the training. So if we look and we see that maybe next set's coming in, maybe there's something they need more, like animation, for instance. This year they've gone through animation, but you don't see it there because it's not done. So these are our core curriculum, and we make sure they go through. The beauty of what we've seen with the students that come in is most times, because during the interview we asked, what is your area of interest? You hear people say, everybody wants to be a director. They come, I'm a director. Well, at the end of the day, when they leave after that 1 year, we find out some of them came in wanting to be directors, but they're now storytellers. Some come in, there's who is here. She came in and she left me. She's a sound specialist. So because we train them on every aspect, and it's not just 1 week. It's not just 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's intense. So they have the full knowledge of everything they're doing, different aspects. so that by the time they are leaving, they make a decision on where they want to belong to. Next slide, please. Next, go, next, again, We also have what we call immersions. Immersions is, our trainings are not just classroom trainings. They don't sit in class all day. We throw them into real life productions where they take part in everything you see that they've done. Nigerian Idol, the last EMVCA that just happened, they were the ones, the current class were the ones behind the stage. They did most of the behind the stage things. How many of you watched it? The spirit guy that came, the Dibia that came when they were talking. Thank God there's no Dibia here, so nobody was going to say that. That was one of us. He's one of our current students. So it's actually hands-on training. So it's not just the classroom part. We also do have immersions where they go and they do stuff. Next slide, please. Going fast, so that we don't. Master classes. I said we do at the academies, and I'm talking about the master classes. These are some of the master classes that we've done. This were actually done last year. This was done this year. Mrs. Bukola has gone. Well, we've talked about, the master classes are not just any topic. We look at things that are relevant to the industry, challenges in the industry, and then we bring experts to talk about those topics. Next slide, please. Our journey so far. So far, we've had 80 students. We have 20 now, making 100. We started 2018, and so far, 98%. Only one student has dropped out since we started in 2018. And the reason she dropped out was she said her own was too much. The intensity was too much. So, like I said, it's intense. So you have to really be serious in terms of doing what it is you've come to do. In terms of number of registered business, we partner with other organizations. For instance, Dr. Obiaya. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Obiaya. He's the Dean of School of Media and Communications, and we're partnering with Pan Atlantic University. They're the ones that give accreditation to the certificates we give. And they teach our students, they help us. There is the entrepreneurship arm of the whole thing. So most of our students, when they leave, they don't look for jobs because they start their own businesses. Most of them, they start their own businesses. There was something happened recently where, MultiChoice, and we have our own Africa Magic production. We took out a call, we were looking for a commissioning editor, and then we said, send out to your alumni to see if anyone will apply. Not one person. No, I think maybe 2 people. We have 80 alumni. Not 2 people applied to be commissioning editor for Africa Magic because most of them are big boys and big girls. So that's the thing. So it's not just about storytelling, it's also about building the economy and empowering them to also employ labor, like we hear some of them are doing. And then in terms of awards, most of their movies also win awards. They've done movies individually, they've done movies as an academy. The next slide, please, so that I'll look at. Another thing I failed to mention is, since 2018 that we started, every year, 3 best graduating students are sent on all expense-paid trip to New York, South Africa, and India. All expense paid. You don't pay a dime. So, these are some of the students that have gone. So we also have a partnership with New York Film Academy. We have a partnership with Z-World. We have partnership with the Eminent Productions in South Africa. All these people you're seeing are students that Elvis here just came back from SA. Literally just came back last week. Abisola just came back from Florence, New York Film Academy in Florence. United States Embassy people are not here. We're having small challenges with visa. I digress. So he couldn't go to New York, but we made sure he went to Florence because there's a New York Film Academy there as well. So those are some of the things we do to give back, and we've been doing it every year consistently for 8 years. I think we deserve another one. Next slide, please. And then I think the last slide before I go in, all the things you see here are productions by our students. Crew beginning to end. The only things that they don't do here is cast. I don't think that's even correct. Sometimes because they are saving budget, they are part of the cast. They cast themselves. So if you look at some of these things, there's some of them here that are students there. Well, I'm saying they are for real filmmakers. It's not a school where, so they enter festivals not in student categories, they enter as filmmakers because we've trained them to be filmmakers. And they all types of genre they do. The first ones you see, short movies, those two you saw there, we did them for Z-Wolf. Z-Wolf commissioned us to do those ones for them. We have this, the Ed Shot one, the documentary. The Ed Shot team came in from South Africa. There's a partnership there, and they commissioned us to do those two and this 2017, the docudrama. So we actually have people commissioning our students and our alumni to do stuff. So everything you see here, leaked, grown, had that passed, most of them have won awards at the AMBC. Next slide, please. I think that's, no, sorry, before I leave this slide, everything we've been talking about is about the Ghana-Nigerian collaboration. Because every year we'll have Ghana and Nigerian students every year. There's that collaboration between us and the students. The movie you see here, Tejiri, this Tejiri movie, was done by the alumni in Nigeria and in Ghana. We flew in people from Nigeria to shoot Tejiri. We all went, myself, my team, everybody went for the recce. It's a prison story we went to, and Juliet is gone, but she's actually a strong partner. Because when we flew into Ghana, we went to the film authority and they helped us with permits and all those things. So we're already having those collaborations because we have that partnership and our students are Nigerians and Ghanaians. Later they'll be pitching, some of them are pitching in the Nigerian Ghana production movies that are coming up later. Next slide, please. And I think that will be my last slide. Okay, can you please play it? This is a brief summary of what we are or who we are. We have this replicated in different regions. So we have the exact same thing in Kenya and East Africa. We have the exact same thing in Zambia and South Africa. And then we have Nigeria, and then we have one in South Africa, the country itself. And we're doing the exact same thing. 80 students, and that's the beauty of the MultiChoice Talent Factory, because our students are able to collaborate.
We believe in telling our own African stories. MultiChoice is passionate about telling stories that touch our customers' lives. We believe in telling our own African stories. MultiChoice is passionate about telling stories that touch our customers' lives, celebrate our continent, and build great futures, which is why we invest in quality homegrown shows and channels.
Telling our own people's stories means being able to identify who we are.
The MultiChoice Talent Factory was born out of the need to improve the quality of local productions and to invest in Africa's TV and film industry.
It's a really helpful initiative for the youth realizing that the sky is the limit.
In 2018, our 3 world-class MTF academies opened their doors in Lagos, Nairobi, and Lusaka to provide a year-long funded training program to emerging young talent from across 13 countries.
It's one thing to learn about film and another thing to practice it. So we got an opportunity to do that on all the sets because we got to work with all the different departments.
Through industry masterclasses with local and global experts and partners, we are developing and strengthening the local TV and film industry across the continent.
My experience at MTF was essential for launching me into the film industry. It equipped me with the knowledge on the business and the creative aspects of filmmaking. In addition to that, it has grown my network tremendously.
Our students are exposed to exciting international opportunities. This year, micro-documentaries for the We Are Climate Justice campaign were produced in partnership with the New York Film Academy and Creative Development.
MultiChoice Talent Factory brings a lot of benefits to my local community.
PSAs for Partners Against Piracy were created, and students continued to work on local productions. The positive impact of the MTF program is reflected by the high number of economically active alumni. Many are currently working on local productions with Mnet channels, Showmax and Honey TV.
Welcome to Mom vs. Wife.
Whilst others have started their own production companies and are now creating work opportunities for local young talent in their own countries.
Somos uma produtora audiovisual. Prestamos serviços na área de produção audiovisual, produzimos comerciais, documentários, produzimos roteiros.
MultiChoice is proud to showcase their quality productions from movies, documentaries and reality shows on our platforms.
I believe after the training we got at MTF, I am better placed to be the next generation of filmmakers who will impact change.
Both students and alumni have won numerous awards from the AMVCAs in Nigeria and the Kalasha Awards in Kenya.
MTF has shown me that I can be better than I ever thought I could.
We remain committed to igniting Africa's TV and film industries and enriching lives by developing the art of inspired local storytelling.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Atinuke. Can we please give it up for MultiChoice? This is incredible. So imagine like 3 companies doing all that. That would create like zillions of filmmakers in no time. Thank you so much. And congratulations to those that will be speaking next. I guess our next panelist, Choma and Co. Are you part of it? All right then. So we're gonna have like a 30-minute session for you guys. It will be who's moderating, Ogechi, someone else is, I can't mind moderating. So can we please have you all ready? So there'll be, for the panelists, I have Choma Paul DK, are you here? All right, Manvo Hola, Ola Jegede, are you here? Okay, and then Abimbola Akin Rebola. Okay, and then Structures Iragalachi. Okay, are you all here? And then the moderator is Akoma Onye Ononiru, who is the program manager. Did I mother that? No, this is Igbo, I need to get it. So it's Akoma Onye Onoru. Yes, I need to get that, yeah. So, so she's the program manager, MultiChoice Talent Factor as well. So you'll be moderating the session. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, good evening. Good evening, nice people. How are you doing this evening? I'm not getting the energy. You know, one of our challenges was having a session after lunch, because sometimes when people finish eating, the energy is, you know, they're just relaxed. They don't want to watch, they don't really want to engage. But it's our delight to be here today. We are very grateful to Ijoma for having us here. And like my boss said earlier, she shared about the MTF program and its impact. So what we're here to do really is to show you real time what that impact looks like in the lives of people, right? So everyone seated here, please you'll introduce yourselves. My name is Akma Onyanara. I'm the program manager for MultiChoice Talent Factory West Africa, because like Atinuke said earlier, we have MTF across different regions of Africa. So I am the person for West Africa. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ola Jegede, popularly known as the Nika director. I'm a filmmaker, a cinematographer, and a writer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Choma Paul DK. I'm the co-founder of Filmmakers Math and Roy. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hola Manuwa Jr. I'm a film director and founder of Expo Studios Limited.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abimbola Akin. My screenwriter who occasionally doubles into producing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Precious Iragalachi. I'm a filmmaker, creative director of Azure Studios Nigeria.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so I just want to go straight to Precious. Precious is from the first set. Like Atinuke said earlier, we started in 2018, and Precious is one of the beneficiaries from the first set, right? So Precious, I want to ask you, when you heard, I mean, we just started, what made you even apply to be part of the 2018 cohort?
Okay, so I've always been obsessed about film, and that obsession led me to acting at some point, because I felt like that was the medium I was meant to express my passion for film and cinema through. So I started acting and dabbled into different workshops about film cinematography, and at the time I had just finished the Canon filmmaking workshop, and I was just working in the film space in Abuja, just finding my feet, and I saw the application and I had no idea, to be honest. I didn't know that was going to be a point in my story, but I just took the leap. It was either that. I always say, it's a running joke I have on sets that when we wrap very late, I'm always like, if I was working in 9 to 5, I would be home by now. So it was either film or I would have been a banker. So I was applying for a job at Access Bank. At the same time, I was applying for film. So I didn't know what I was going in for, but I just knew I had to be there. And luckily, out of 1,000, I was one of the 20. So
Understand? Like that's such a powerful thing. Many people who, because we had a lot of entries that year, remember?
2,000.
Yeah, and you were one of them. That's really awesome, fantastic. So I want to ask quickly. A lot of you had your experiences before the MTF. So let's talk experience before MTF and the difference. Was there a difference when you came to the MTF Academy? Your experience in 1 year, did it change your life? And if it did, tell us about that journey. Jagede, would you like to go first? Thank you.
So I'd always known that I wanted to make film. I studied theater arts in 4 years. After school, I teamed up with a friend of mine, Big Global. That's Fabrice, a current MTF.
Yes, he is.
We used to make a lot of films then. It was very crude, it was very rough. We didn't know what we were doing, but we just enjoyed making. So I think about 30 minutes ago, I was playing one of my films for one of my old films, and I was sort of shy to watch it because if you see what it is that I was paying for and what it is that I made, there's a lot of difference. So what MTF did was,
and that's what good looks like, right?
MTF refined everything that I thought I knew about filmmaking and sort of taught me new things, new ways, the proper way to make film, as opposed to just grabbing camera and just shooting anything anyhow.
Awesome.
Great. MTF, I was a freelance filmmaker. I worked on various film sets as a line producer, assistant director, script supervisor. I was just finding a way in the industry because, like Precious said, I thought I was going to be an actor, but Kate had other plans. So I was just finding my way, and then MTF happened. I thought, give it a shot just to see where you go from here because you've been doing so many things and you're not exactly sure what direction you're going. And MTF was sort of a clarity and a springboard, for me, because while at MTF, you would ask me, I would say, oh, I'm going to be the next big director, the next big producer, storyteller to come out. But after MTF, or while in MTF, I met two other gentlemen who had fantastic ideas. While we were all planning to be directors, producers, I had to bring about solutions and structure for the industry. And because I had prior experience before MTF, they usually would come to me for information. So I was always the go-to person for this information. So let me just not say as much as the story. But MTF before and after is, I was basically just swimming in an ocean with no direction. After MTF, I sort of had clarity. I sort of knew where I wanted to be. I'm now part of the team that provides storytelling, we provide solutions to the industry. So that's it.
Awesome. Manu, do you have a good story? Not share?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to a film school in Ghana. I have a film degree in film. But after film school, you would realize that there it's all about being a creative. And so you get to a point you're frustrated because you're not moving anywhere, you're just creating, and then it's the same thing. And then my friend sent me the link, and then I joined. And then what has changed for me now is I am not just a creative, I am a business creative, because that is one of the beautiful things MTF teaches you. So you are not just creating, you are making money from and so it's not just, you're not just being a filmmaker, you are a business filmmaker, and that is very, very beautiful, trust me.
Very important, because when there is no money, the passion is being frustrated. All right, do you want to share something, Abimbola? Okay.
So my story is a bit different. My story is a bit different. I've always enjoyed stories, right? In the form of books, movies, and all of that. But I never knew that there was a possibility to pursue a career in telling stories until I was in the university studying biology. And at that point, I didn't have any other choice but to delve into the career that I was already studying for. So I became a biology teacher after university. And I taught my students biology with a side of my dreams to become a writer. So they all knew that this person wants to become a writer. In fact, when I left my career at that point, some of my students made notes with good wishes, pursue your dreams and all of that, but I had no idea how to do it. And luckily for me, I found the application for MTF shortly after that. I applied. I was scared because I didn't know that your passion was a big part of applying for this. I thought you might need to have experience, but I did not. So I applied and I was selected, and I was taught from the basics to, in fact, everything I need to know. It was so intensive. And while I was being taught, I was writing a feature length that went on to win an AMVC. So that was a big deal for me. It just made me realize that the world is my oyster. It made me realize that there's a lot ahead for me in this career that I thought that I didn't know anything about. MTF, defined my life in this way. It gave me a career that I love.
Awesome. Precious, respect me.
Yeah, so I think before MTF, I already said I started to dabble into either the 9 to 5 or acting and minor productions. But the impact I've had for me went beyond the film curriculum. So a lot of film workshops, a lot of film schools in the country, and on you want to go in as a director, we'll teach you framing, how to cut as an editor and all of that. But the core of the Multi-Talent Factory's curriculum focused on shaping the mind of the creative, So we had so many deep sessions where we dug deep, understand who you are, sort of to fish out your why, here, what are you doing this for? And if not to have the answers to those questions, but just to question yourself and to reflect, okay, so yes, I'm taking a wide shot, but why? How is that important? It's not just about the film of it, but it's about who is the creative and why are you doing this? And that was so pivotal in my journey because it just made me to realize, to step into a space of self-awareness. To say, okay, so I love this thing that I want to do and I want to do it for as long as I can, but in what ways and why do I actually want to do it? And I don't need to have all the answers to this, but I'm happy that I can now question myself and question every process that I come in contact with. And it created a space that made the filmmakers, and I'm speaking for myself, there was such vulnerability and such deep connections within that set that, in one session, you're creating and you're having a swell time. The next session, it's no longer, okay, so you want to be a director. It's like, okay, so what happened at the age of 5 that made you like the color red? Things like that. And then you're asking yourself, no, but I just want to direct. It's not supposed to be deeper than this, but it was deep and it was immersive. And you were not alone. In as much as you had skilled facilitators just guiding you through it, you also had people around you that you could also tap into their experiences and say, okay, if I had gone through this and I came out, I can also be inspired by this other person's story. So we spent 1 year, like the director said, we spent 1 year in the house and on the academy, but you also come out of that with 20 other friends that you feel like you've known for 3 years because of the depth of the process. Like it's not surface. You know, the friendships and the connections and the network you form there is not, so you can I can meet Chioma now and relate to her on a level that another person can, because we know what we went through. And like, I can just say one thing and she will get it because of how deep the process was, and be grateful for the fact that it went beyond just the knowledge of film, but deep into the knowledge of self. So that, you know, each creative that steps out, you're creating authentically, like knowing who you are, what drives you, what stories you want to tell and sort of like pushes you to follow that line and just not be wavered by, okay, the next big thing or the next big set and all of that. So that for me is like the most powerful of the MTF.
Awesome. A round of applause, please. So even though I'm program manager, I am even excited.